What's up everybody, welcome to this YouTube video. In this YouTube video, we're gonna dive into what no one is telling you about scaling an agency. And this applies to you no matter what stage you're in. Maybe you're at zero right now and really just trying to start from the ground up. Maybe you're already doing 10, 20K a month and you just wanna grow past 60K. Maybe you're already doing above 100K a month and you just wanna see some of the lessons that I personally learned over the last 3.5 years running agencies and working with more than 300 plus agency owners one-on-one directly. We're not gonna dive into any fancy strategies in this video. This video is just gonna be there for me to be able to pass down the lessons to you that I've learned over the last couple of years, and so you can implement those into your own agency and make a lot more money with it. I wanna talk about things that aren't really commonly spoken about and break them down in a simple way for you to understand, so that way you get a lot of value from this video, which is ultimately my goal. By the way, just for your reference, I am still a bit sick, so in case, I'm speaking a bit more quietly or I'm not necessarily completely there with my energy, just excuse that because I am still sick, but we gotta get back to work nonetheless. So, what no one is telling you about scaling an agency. There's a ton of stuff that I could dive into here, but I want to break it down into the 5 most important points that I have learned over the last 3.5 years running an agency and working with a lot of agency owners, just so we have a little step-by-step process right here for you, so it's easy to digest and easy to go through as well. Point number 1 that I want to dive into is that you do not want to optimize for fast money. And this is contrary to what everyone else in the industry is telling you, because everybody's saying that you should go ahead and make fast sales and be focused on fast and quick money and just get the clients in. And although I understand the mindset behind it, and I partly agree with it, because you have to be very proactive in your approach to acquire clients for your business to do well, at the same time, I would regard myself as an infrastructure builder. I'm way more focused on building the infrastructure that actually makes the money and sustains the money comparatively to trying to run after the next deal and run after the next deal. That's why, for example, right now, I have a couple of deals in the pipeline that are higher level, boutique level agency deals with very, very, very interesting companies that I'm not going to talk about here, because it's not something that you commonly share in the marketplace, because it's more into the direction of e-commerce and stuff. It's an interesting project, my point being. And there's a lot of potential in that project. I'm going to be working on that project for a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months, and I'm not going to see money for it at all up until the point in time where we can actually monetize. So my point being, what you want to do when building a business is you want to build the infrastructure that then consistently makes you the money no matter what, rather than running after the next deal and after the next deal and after the next deal. And a part of that is, for example, these types of videos, right? Building an organic social media presence, because guess what? I record this video once and then it can be played, theoretically speaking, billions of times without me having to expand any extra effort, okay? And so building the infrastructure that makes the money, and for that short-term sacrificing cash flow, but long-term getting high profit margins, a scalable business, and this is a very important one in my opinion as well, an enjoyable business as well, is a trade that I would make every single time. Focus on building the infrastructure rather than chasing after the quick money, because that's what is gonna truly fulfill you long term. The worst thing you can do is build a business that makes you money. Maybe it makes you 10, 20K a month, but then it's not sustainable. And the only way in which you sustain that profit or that revenue is just by you running faster in your self-built hamster wheel. That is not the type of business that you want to run. And again, this ties into your organic social media presence. Okay, that's one. The other thing this ties into is the systems you build. It is, and this is probably one of the most important ones, the talent you attract. And more commonly now, and this market is growing a lot, AI. You being able to leverage AI in the right way, in a way where you make your company more scalable and you help every single department within your business, is going to be massive. And the projects that I'm working on personally, a lot of those have to do with AI as well, because everyone knows AI is the future. But I still believe that majority of people don't really take action on it as much as they should. They don't use the models. They don't get familiar with how to interact with them. They don't build companies based on AI. There's gonna be people that become billionaires and multi-billionaires and who knows, maybe even trillionaires with literally like a couple people in the company because they have AI. Because AI, it operates at this point, I mean, with Claudebot and everything, as its own assistant, even you could call it, as its own instance, right? And by the way, if you haven't heard about Claudebot, which if you're watching this type of video, I assume that you heard about it. If you haven't heard about it, please research this. This is the closest thing that we've got so far to AGI. So research that stuff. But again, to get back to the point, don't prioritize fast cash. Prioritize building the infrastructure that brings the cash flow no matter what, okay? So that's number one. Number two, I want to talk about paid ads. So there's a lot of people in the industry that claim that running paid ads is the fastest way to get clients. And that's why when you're starting out with your agency and you want to grow fast, you should just run paid ads. Paid ads for local businesses, paid ads for whatever that may be to acquire them as clients, right? And although I agree with the fact that paid ads is the fastest way to get clients through the door, I would still argue that it's a really stupid idea to run ads from the get-go. And I'll tell you why right now. So why is running paid ads from the get-go a bad thing? At least for 99 out of 100 people watching this video. It's a stupid thing to do because all paid ads do is they bring you reliable traffic. I think that's pretty clear. Okay, we're getting reliable traffic. Now, the issue is that the only way in which you get to the money on the other side of this equation is if the marketing processes, the sales process, the messaging, the positioning, the congruency, and everything else in the middle is aligned. The team as well, the systems. What do I mean by this? Well, paid ads bring eyeballs. Paid ads bring people that see you, see your products, and get to know who you are really. Makes sense. Okay, you want to get to the money. To get to the money, you have to pass through this tunnel, let's call it. And within this tunnel, we have marketing, sales, messaging, positioning, and these things. What am I saying here? Why am I saying this? I'll tell you a quick story about this. So about 2 to 2.5 years ago, when I was still a bit more fresh with my agency, I had actually a different agency running ads for my agency. And the reason for it was because they had great case studies, they've had some big cases, and they were really good at what they did. Okay, so I paid them a retainer. I think it was $2,000 as a retainer for them to just do my ads. I also paid another, I think, $1,500 in ad spend per month. And that's what I did. I allocated that budget to it. Now, we were getting consistent bookings on the calendar. I think we were averaging about 5 to 10 bookings per week, which at that ad spend level, based on the data that we had back then and these things, they were pretty good, right? Okay, I spent a total of, I think, around about $8,500 on this, and I made zero. Why did I make $0 even though I spent $8,500 on this collaboration, on these ads? Well, that was the case because A, I didn't know how to close. B, my messaging was all over the place. C, I had no unique positioning. D, there was no congruency in my funnel. E, I didn't have a strong team. And so on and so forth. No systems, everything was off. The point I'm trying to bring to you here is that if you run ads, but these things in the tunnel in between aren't already aligned, and very important here, have proof of concept, hence POC organically, then you will not be able to make money from this. And so what does this tie into? Well, with marketing, what I mean by this specifically is just the volume that you're getting at it with, meaning how many reels are you posting? How many YouTube videos are you posting? How many LinkedIn posts are you posting? What's the frequency of it? What's the quality of it? How valuable is it? And then also, do you have a proper foundational structure for all of the profiles that you're actually using to market yourself? That's number one. Number two is sales. Sales ties into, obviously, first of all, your closing abilities, right? Closing abilities. But then outside of that, sales is also about the framing process, okay? How do you frame people in between the booked call to the call taking place? You need those structures in place. Messaging, what do I mean by that? Well, do you actually have a complete proper understanding of both the pain points as well as the solutions, or the dream outcomes, I would rather say, that your ideal clients desire? Can you paint that picture for them visually with your words? Outside of that, positioning. Do you have a unique position in the marketplace that actually differentiates you from your competition? Is your funnel congruent? Hence, is your messaging and your positioning and the marketing angles you're using in the sales process completely aligned top to bottom? Are you saying and stating the same things on every end of the funnel? Because if not, it will make prospects confused and they drop off. Do you have a strong team executing these systems for you? If not, are you able to execute on it yourself time-wise? And then outside of that, do you have the support systems for that, the SOPs, the tracking, everything else? So my point being, there's so much stuff that needs to work in between the traffic and you getting to the money that you should not run ads unless you have proof of concept with this organically, meaning before running ads, you already have a converting system. It's already working. And then you use ads to light that fire up even more. Because guess what? Getting proof of concept organically or selling people and getting sales organically is way easier than paid ads. Because if someone sees your Instagram and they see your YouTube and they see your LinkedIn, and then they have a chat with your sales team, and then they get on a call and they close, that was pretty much a warm lead. Cold traffic is exactly what the name says. It's cold. These people are harder to convert on the same price points. These people will need more payment plans, more financing options. These people require way more money to convert, okay? The CAC, the cost of acquiring a customer, is way higher on cold traffic comparatively to warm traffic. And I think that's pretty clear. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, what no one is telling you about scaling an agency. Exits. You can make an agency exitable. It is possible. It's not easy, but it's possible. And if you do it well, you can actually get a multiple of 4x all the way up to 8x on your yearly revenue, which for an agency, for this type of company, is pretty good. You can acquire that, but the only way you can acquire that is if you're, again, going back to point number 1, focused on building the infrastructure and the systems and the processes rather than trying to run as fast as you can every single day and being focused on working hard rather than building an actual proper business. Okay. Point number 4. What else is no one telling you about scaling an agency? What no one is telling you is that you should ideally start with proof of concept of other people. What do I mean by this? Well, when we, for example, work with partners internally, one-on-one, they get access to our proof, our case studies, our results, our numbers, our data. Why? Because we operate as a franchise, okay? Meaning they get access to that proof right away, meaning they can leverage that for their outreach and for their sales process because we're backing them up, meaning this immediately gives them a massive edge. Because as you know, a lot of people that are starting out in the starting phase struggle with acquiring clients because they lack the necessary proof, the necessary case studies. This is what solves that equation, okay? And we're not the only ones doing this. So get proof from somewhere so you have an easier time doing your marketing as well as your sales. And then point number 5. And this actually has to do a lot with your personal life rather than your business itself. When you make money and you start making 10K a month, maybe you start making 20K a month, maybe 50K a month, whatever amount of money you make, for the love of God, please, please, please spend your money wisely. And I know this is an easy, straightforward thing to say, but I'll tell you this, okay? So one of my mentors, he's worked with thousands of agency owners and a lot of them really high level, a lot of them doing millions every year in revenue. And he has insight into this data and I have insight into this data on a smaller scale as well. 99.999999999% of agency owners have less than 100K in their bank account. And the reason I say this is because it seems different online. Online, it seems like they have a lot more in their bank account, because the thought pattern that, you know, you and I would have is, okay, these people clearly need to have a lot of money sitting in their bank, otherwise they wouldn't be spending it on this and that. You're wrong. Most of these people, because they have recurring cash flow, spend a lot of the money they make every single month just to live a certain lifestyle. But both what you as well as myself have to understand here is that we're young. If you're watching this video, you're very likely under the age of 30. That's just the demographic that is mostly listening to the videos that I put out. You're likely in between 18 to 27. Likely you're male, likely you're from a first world country like the States, Germany, UK, other parts of Europe like Italy or France. Maybe you're from Australia, these types of countries. And very likely do you see a lot of people on Instagram every single day flexing with a certain lifestyle. And I get that that's appealing, but what both you and I gotta understand is that we're in the game of business to get wealthy. And what I mean by wealthy is the assets that we hold and the money that we make from our assets is more than we spend a year living a very good life. That's the goal. If you achieve this, you're free. Like you are literally free to do whatever you want to do. But the only way you get there is by using the money that you make in a wise way, investing it back into the business, growing the business as fast as you can, acquiring team members, acquiring more social proof, acquiring more reach through paid ads, acquiring whatever, stocks, crypto, real estate, building portfolios. Doing that stuff is so much more valuable than spending money on a car. Can you do both? 100%. But if you have to choose between, I don't know, spending money on a car and spending money on a mentorship, always go for the thing that brings you longevity, because that is what the ultimate goal of business building is. And this is why we're doing this, okay? And I'm doing the same thing. I'm not driving a Lamborghini. Could I afford a really cool sports car? 100% I could. But I took that budget and I paid it to a consultancy and to my team and to paid ads and to a setup for my work and to a bunch of things that I know long term will make me a lot more money than getting, I don't know, an M4 or getting a Lambo or whatever that may be. You only get those things when they make up such a small part of your revenue and your profits that you don't even notice the money going out of your bank account. One of my previous mentors talked about this as well. He got his first supercar, which was a Ferrari 458, back 6 years ago, I think, roundabout. He got that car, which back then he paid $4,500 a month for, when he was already making more than 400 grand a month in cash. And so he didn't even notice the money going out of his bank account, because guess what? It was 1% of his monthly recurring revenue. So don't spend your money on stupid stuff. I hope this video was valuable to you. I actually really liked this style of video. Obviously, different type of video to some of the other ones that I've put out there, but this is really, really important stuff to remember. And so let's just run through it really quick again. Again, number one, build infrastructure. Don't push every day. Just build the infrastructure that attracts, okay? Attract, don't push. Point number two, paid ads. Run paid ads once you have organic proof of concept. Point number three, an exit is possible given that you follow rule number one. Point number four, keep in mind that you can acquire and buy yourself access to proof that accelerates your marketing and your sales process. And then point number five, the goal is to become wealthy, not rich. And so spend your money wisely. Don't hold on to it. Don't be in, a very limited thought pattern and then hold yourself back and think that money is scarce. That's the opposite of what I'm saying. I want to be clear about that. But don't buy stupid stuff, okay? Don't buy stuff that you can't afford. If you make your first 10K, don't spend that first 10K on a fucking watch. That's so stupid. Okay, I'm wearing a Whoop. I'm not wearing a watch. I'm optimizing my life. You get the point, okay? So that's it for this video. If you want to see more videos like these, leave a thumbs up, subscribe as well. If you have any questions, reach out to my IG. I will link that down below in the comment section, in the description. And then outside of that, you can also watch the video. That's the first link in the description right below this, which is a keynote that I hosted last year with a couple of the people that we work with one-on-one. It goes about a couple of different things. It's about, you know, how to build inbound lead flow strategically with YouTube to be able to acquire clients from inbound, how to build a strong sales team, a bit about myself and my story as well. So if you want to watch that, feel free to do so right below in the description, first link. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for your attention, and I'll talk to you very soon.